They're talking about the NFL from a different perspective. Game recaps, stats, big plays, predictions, and much more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Breaking and Entering podcast with Brandon Simpson and me, Edward Donaldson. Brandon, how you doing today, man?
Man, you
Uh-oh.
know, it's a day after a loss. That's
Yeah,
what more can I
yeah,
say? Tough loss. I'll get more into that later. But yeah, it's a day after a loss. It's a losing Monday. Let's put it that way.
I got you. I got you. How
How you
the
feel,
Picks League going?
man? I think I had my worst record start since, and we've been
Uh-oh.
doing this basically since high school. I think we took about a 3 or 4 year break until last year we restarted. But I went 0-1 in the Thursday night game because I picked the Bears.
Yeah.
And then my 1 o'clock games, my early start games on Sunday, I finished 0-8.
I
So
think a
I
lot of people
started,
got them games wrong. I think a lot of people got a lot. Oh, and 8.
yes, 0-8.
Damn. Holy
And I'm the picks manager. So I add up the tally. I do it every 3 weeks. I add up the overall records and I submit it to the guys, which I'll be doing tonight after the Monday Night Football game. And I had added them up on Saturday. That way, all I had to do was add in this week's games. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in third place. So maybe I can make a few moves on Sunday and
Mm.
wiggle into second place, right? Halftime is looking good. I'm like, okay, I'm about to get like at least 500, right? God damn, by the end of by the time the other games started, man, the late games, I looked up, I was 0-9
Mm.
altogether from Thursday night to the midday on Sunday. So yeah, the picks league is not going good based off this week. I have to give you an update on Friday as far as what my overall record is compared to the other guys, but it looks like
Man.
I'm headed back to the cellar of the
Mm.
picks league right now.
Man, you sound like me in fantasy football. I lost a game this week and I just made a drastic move. I traded my first round pick for next year for
Okay.
Jamar Chase. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that works out for me because I lost another game. And this year, it's like a grand prize of like you can win over $1,000
Damn.
because of the in the dynasty league. Like each year there's always a winner, but after like a certain amount of years, like 3 years, the person with the most amount of points after that time period wins a bigger prize. So I'm trying to get that. So I'm in third place, but the way it's looking now, ugh, yeah. So we
Understood.
both had some tough weekends.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this opening drive. ESPN report says Dan Snyder, the owner of the Commanders, believes the NFL can't mess with him because he has dirt on other owners and Roger Goodell. Privately, he said they can't fuck with me. His words, according to the report. Texans have reportedly fired executive VP of football operations Jack Easterby. The Panthers have traded their wide receiver Robbie Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals. That's probably good timing if anyone saw what happened on the sidelines between them on Sunday. I'll get into a little bit more later. Bill Belichick won his 324th game, regular season and postseason combined, and is now tied second all time with George Hollis. He's only 23 wins behind Don Shula. Bill's safety, I don't know if you heard this, Brandon, but Bill's safety, Jordan Poyer, he hired car service to drive him 15 hours from Buffalo to Kansas City because he wasn't medically cleared to fly due to a rib injury. And he's still not cleared to fly back despite playing in the game. That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Some
That's
dedication
some,
though.
yeah, that's some crazy dedication right there. You're right. I want to start before we get into these games, man. I got to start this damn report that came out about Dan Snyder. You know, this dude basically saying he's untouchable right now,
Oh yeah.
saying they can't mess with him or they can't fuck with him. His words. I'm like, owners, y'all seen this? Come on, somebody's got to be like, oh, really? Well,
Exactly.
somebody's got to do something. Goodell, somebody, because he's making y'all look like some clowns right
Mhm.
now. He's made the Commanders franchise look like clowns for a long time, but he's started to make the rest of the NFL look like some clowns, in my opinion. I've been hard on Ron Rivera to start this year, but now that I had a chance to sit back and like think, I kind of feel bad for him because he's got to deal with all that crap
Yep.
that the Dan Snyder is putting on the team, just the negative news and energy, I want to say. And then he's got to go out there and try to coach the team. So I think I kind of see why he's been a little more aggressive with the media and snappy, walking out and throwing people under the bus like Carson Wentz and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, man. I didn't like that report at all. I
Same
hope
here.
somebody calls his bluff because man, I don't like that dude. Not at all. But yeah, let's get into these games. I'm gonna start this first one. You probably ain't gonna like it, but let's just get it out the way. The Giants improved to 5-1, beating the Ravens 24-20. I said the Giants are the worst 3-1 team of football. I said they're the worst 4-1 team of football. I can't say they're the worst 5-1 team of football. I think after a while, man, they kind of proved like they might be a legitimate football team. Now, I will say they are the weakest 5-1 team in football. They're gonna have to keep proving me wrong because I don't know if they can maintain this. They were getting after Lamar Jackson a little bit. He lost a fumble and he threw an interception in the game. Brandon, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, another as I mentioned earlier, losing Monday. So
Yeah,
this is a tough one. It's in the end, because we lose to an NFC team, I'll take it as a loss because it won't necessarily hurt us in a tiebreaker type situation if it comes down to us having the same record with somebody, whether it's wild card or divisional, as far as the seeding goes. But
yeah,
you know, my dad was a Giants fan, so I was excited when I saw this game on the schedule back when the schedule makers released the slate earlier in the year.
yeah.
But then after kickoff, I learned that well, before kickoff, I learned that my favorite announcer, Ian Eagle, was on the call. My favorite announcer for Ravens games, let's put it that way. So I was feeling even more hyped because every time Lamar Jackson has a big run, he has a special call, it seems like, in his back pocket for it, which I have that as well a little bit later. So look, we get the ball first, but of course we stall on the 4th down sack.
Of course.
Their New York pass rush was harassing LJ all day, especially in the first quarter. You mentioned it. It was another day of self-inflicted wounds for us. We had 4 penalties in the first quarter, man. I believe 3 of them were false starts, if I'm not mistaken, or illegal formations. But I do got to give a shout out to our rookie defensive tackle, Travis Jones. He got his first sack. I know Harbaugh was big on the addition of him in the draft. We got him in the 3rd round. Harbaugh was like, he's definitely first-round talent, and his game on Sunday definitely proved that he could have gone higher. So we're thankful to have him. First quarter kind of set the tone, in my opinion. When Tucker missed the field goal, it sailed to the left. As soon as he kicked it, I knew it wasn't going in. And I've seen games where when Tucker, obviously, I think back to the Buffalo playoff game a couple years ago, a lot of wind and stuff. When Tucker missed 2 field goals in that game, I already knew it wasn't going good for us in that game. But I will say Kenyon Drake, he brought the offense alive in the second quarter with an 8-play, 89-yard drive for a touchdown. That was a classic Ravens drive as far as killing the clock that we try to do a lot, but it doesn't always work in our favor, especially this year.
Yeah.
But then we let them right back in it with good field position, with terrible special teams coverage on that kickoff, man. They, I believe it was like a 40-some yard return, if I'm not mistaken, set them up. Jones only had to lead his offense down basically half the field. And we had a couple of 3rd down breakdowns that helped keep their drive going. So the first half ended with a lot of Ravens plays, yards, and first downs, but only 10 points to account for it. Then came the second half. Our opening drive only ended with a field goal after we couldn't connect inside of the 10-yard line, the opposing 10-yard line. It was a pretty quiet third quarter. Both teams only scored a field goal. Then came the fourth quarter. We was up 20-10 after LJ threw a sweet pass to Mark Andrews for a touchdown, right corner of the end zone. We got away with the delay game on that one. I know Brian Daboll was fired up on the sideline after that one, rightfully so. But then Jones hit his tight end on the responding drive, Bellinger, for the touchdown to get within 3 points. Of course, we had the opportunity to run out the clock. Linderbaum, he had the high snap to LJ. Lamar tries to make a play out of it. Everybody saw this play in the highlights if you didn't see the game. Typically works in our favor. Lamar, he's rolling out to the right. He throws in the middle of the field to Patrick Ricard, the fullback of all people. And he gets picked off. So Of course, only Baltimore would give the Giants defense their first interception of the season on defense, and that put them in excellent field position. Giants moved the ball downfield. Saquon takes it in for the touchdown. We still have 3 timeouts. We had good time management, clock management in the second half. I'm feeling semi-confident because I know that it probably wasn't going to go in our favor, but we had a shot because we have LJ. Get the ball back, second half, second play of the drive. Pass rush closes in on LJ. He fumbles, and that was all she wrote. So 2 key points from this game that I took, that CBS showed another sideline shot of Harbaugh and McDonald after we let them back in the game. And I was just thinking that, they showed them a couple times, just thinking that y'all just look like Dumb and Dumber out there. Like, legit, this is all I've seen all year. As soon as we let teams back in the 3 losses, we let these teams back, and they showed them 2 on the sideline, just looking lost and confused.
Yeah.
And then after the game, Marlon Humphrey, I follow him on Twitter, and I tend to see a lot of his stuff come up as well. He tweets a lot. And he quoted something from Albert Einstein. It said, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I feel like that was a subliminal message. So we got the Browns next week at home. Going into the game, we're probably going to be favorites, but still not confident at this point, even though the Browns have lost 3 straight. What do you have on this game?
Yeah, as you mentioned, another game where you guys are up and the team came from behind to come back and win. I mean, they're only down 10 in this case, but still, I don't know. You mentioned Kenyon Drake. Yeah, he had a nice game. I know J.K. Dobbins is still a running back, but looking at these numbers, man, 7 rushes for 15 yards.
We didn't use him.
Yeah. I don't know. Rashad Bateman was still out?
Correct.
You know how long he's out for? Or is it like week by week type of thing?
I need to look it up. I think it's week by week, though.
Okay. I was shocked when I saw Justin Tucker miss that kick. I think it bounced off the field goal post. I didn't see the whole game. I was switching back between some other games, but I tried to take a look at that last drive. But yeah, Saquon, he kind of just before he would score a touchdown, I think he could have scored. I mean, it would have been 31 or 30, 21, 31 or something like that, or 24, 31, something like that. No, it would have been a 2-score lead, but it would have been, y'all would have had y'all had 2 timeouts, but y'all would have had like a minute 20 something seconds left.
Miracle, basically.
Yeah.
Either way.
So I'm kind of worried about you guys. What are you guys, 3-3 now?
Correct.
So you got that defense, man. I didn't think the Giants would win this game, but their defense is showing me some things. As long as Saquon can get over, I want to say at least 75 yards rushing, it seems like they got a good opportunity to win. Daniel Jones, he's still getting sacked. He got sacked 4 times in this game. Patrick Queen, I know he had a good game too. I think he had a forced fumble and a sack. But he's not turning the ball over as much anymore. He had a fumble that he lost, but he didn't throw any interceptions. As long as he can try to play mistake-free football, this Giants team is going to be keep making some noise. I don't know how long it lasts. I'm still kind of iffy on it, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see the Giants in this game. I don't know if this success will continue, but we'll see. Maybe their ball has found the answer and turned the switch for this team, but we'll see.
I agree real quick. I think that the Giants, obviously the defense, and you mentioned going into this game last week, I got to give credit to you. You mentioned Kayvon Thibodeau. He had the game sealing sack fumble, basically, forced fumble. So, we know the defense is going to be elite, it seems like, this year.
Yeah.
We know that. I'm a little bit biased. I think Wink Martindale will have some days that it's going to have us looking like, okay, this Giants defense is back to their old selves, because
I know he was happy with that win.
Yeah.
I know he was happy.
He's just that type of coordinator that he likes to do too much sometimes. I've always been critical of him when he was in Baltimore, sending the defensive backs on the blitzes, especially last year when we was shorthanded on the back end, and you're still sending your guys that are supposed to be in coverage, and that's how we got torched. So looking at that, coupled with the offense, I think that if they have to go against a team that, for example, the Eagles, that can score really quick, or that, scores fast, Kansas City, stuff like, I don't know what their schedule is for the rest of the year, but obviously they do play Philly. They're going to have Dallas again. These teams that can score quick and that are shootout type teams, they probably won't be able to keep up. But if they could play teams like Baltimore and the other teams that they played early in the year that allow them to stick around,
Yeah,
Like you said, they can probably, continue to make some noise, and they're a really good fourth quarter team as well.
yeah. We'll see what happens as the season unfolds. All right, let's get to this next game. This was a shocker for me. Jets
Yeah.
beat the Packers 27-10 to improve to 4-2. This was a crazy game. Just the score. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you were you keeping an eye on this game?
Yeah, I was. I was back and forth watching it on a almost like a red zone on Sunday
I got
tickets,
you.
like the 8 games. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. The first half, it was pretty much a defensive battle. I think both teams only scored 3 points, but that second half came out and the Jets seemed to make the adjustments because they came out right away. And I think they scored 14 points in the second quarter or the third quarter.
correct.
And the Packers, man, Aaron Rodgers, he was under pressure pretty much the whole day.
Mhm.
How many times did he get sacked? He got
4
sacked
times.
4 times. Yeah. They were getting constant pressure on him. Quentin Williams, guys like that were just blowing up the line. Packers rushing game was pretty much non-existent. Aaron Jones, he had 9 rushes for 19 yards, and AJ Dillon, he had 10 rushes for 41 yards. But their running game was non-existent, and we've been seeing Aaron Rodgers has not got a good relationship with these new receivers yet. Tunyon, the tight end, he actually had the most receptions and yards. He had 10 receptions for 90 yards. But I remember one play, he tried to connect with Dobbs on a deep throw, and it was just probably like 2 or 3 inches too much in front of him, and he couldn't make the catch. It seems like that's been like the case throughout most of these games so far. He's just missing these guys by a little bit. So he's still working on that chemistry. And then I think Randall Cobb, he got carted off the field, if I'm not mistaken. So he's I think he was like put his head in the towel and everything. So it sounds like that's probably a major injury.
True.
That's one of his like most reliable targets. So I want to see how that's going forward. Alan Lazard, he's gonna have to step up. But this game, man, I think after the London game they had, I can't remember. I think it was Aaron Jones. He was like, if we play like this against the Jets, we're gonna lose too. And Aaron Rodgers kind of he didn't like that or said something about that. But hey, he was right. They came out, they didn't play well. Offense can't get it going, and the Jets put it on them. Zach Wilson, he ain't really do too much. He only threw the ball 18 times, but the rookie running back Breece Hall, he had his little breakout game. You want to say he rushed for 116 yards on 20 carries. It was just a solid game for the Jets, man. They looking like a complete team right now, defense and offense. Robert Saleh's got them boys playing. What did you think about this game, man?
Yeah, you mentioned Zach Wilson. He didn't even have to do much. You mentioned Breece Hall, the game that he had, and Carter was almost half of production what he had. So it was just enough. I'm going to take a page out of your book. I'm going to salute the Jets, man. Winners of 3 straight games, and they had a big win on the road, a statement win on the road against the Packers, who had won 15 straight home games. They just dominated the Packers. I mean, from start to finish. You mentioned Rodgers was under duress all game. The defense held Green Bay to 3 first half points and, of course, 10 points overall. But their offense did their thing as well. You mentioned the running backs as well. I called them out, the coaches, a couple weeks ago for not utilizing the young running backs. They definitely got their production on Sunday for sure. But let's not forget about the special teams for New York. They had a block punt and a block field goal, and they returned that block punt for a touchdown as well. So a lot of people didn't pay attention to it, but we had Matt LaFleur. What is he in his 4th season as the head coach of Green Bay versus his brother, Mike LaFleur. He's in his 2nd year as the offensive coordinator of the Jets. And the one we don't know much about, Mike, came out on top. So the Jets look good. And it's something we haven't been able to say for a while, since like 2010, the Sanchez days. For us, Antonio Holmes. Butt fumble. Those guys. It's been a while since we've been able to say that about the New York Jets. So we'll see how far they go.
Both New York teams are playing well. Ain't that something?
Exactly. For sure. The future looks bright for the Steelers at quarterback, but they still got this season to go, and they're celebrating a 20-18 win over the Bucs. I picked the Bucs heading into this game. I thought they'd win easily, especially with the way the Steelers got thumped last week in Buffalo. But it looked like Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada, it looks like they kind of simplified the offense there for the rookie quarterback. He finished 11 for 18, 67 yards and a touchdown before he unfortunately left the game with a concussion.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, they really struggled to get things going on the ground, but they pulled out the game at the end. Claypool really stepped up. He was just shy of 100 yards. Looking at the Bucks, there's a lot of drama going on down there. Seems like with Tom Brady and those guys, of course, Mike Evans was out of the lineup a couple weeks ago, but this is how they've looked all season, struggling to get off to a fast start. They accounted for 9 points in the first half. Absolutely no run game. I mean, Fournette finished with 63 yards, but outside of him, it was nobody. Yeah. Godwin showed up a little bit. Evans had a few big catches. The defense is the reason why they're sticking around in these games.
Yeah.
So bottom line is they need to clean it up and they need to do it fast because the Falcons, people of all teams are on their ass in the NFC South. I mean, for real, if it wasn't for that botched roughing the passer call a week ago, the Falcons would be in the driver's seat of the division. So
yeah.
What do you think about this interconference matchup here?
I want to ask you a question. They kind of were talking about this on a lot of the talk shows today. I guess Tom Brady, he went, was it Friday? He went to the wedding party for his Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner. Do you think that had any effect on the game?
I would. It's hard to say because we know what he's capable of doing on the football field. 20 some years in the league. Yeah. But I guess with the way they're playing this season, it kind of did. I mean, like I said, they've been off the slow starts all year. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that he had not necessarily permission, but he at least informed Todd Bowles that what was going on, that he was probably going to miss practice or whatever, or meetings or flying back to the game late, flying to the Pittsburgh late. So it's hard to say, like, most quarterbacks you would say, yeah, but then with him, we know that he's capable of, for example, missing a whole week of practice and then coming in and just looking like it's nothing. So yes and no. I would say because of the loss, I would say a little bit more yes, but who knows? Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think I want to say they all underestimated the Steelers though, because they were without I think they were missing 3 of their starting cornerbacks. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, the Steelers, they probably gonna get smashed again. But it looks like everybody came out and played for Coach Tomlin. True. And played for themselves. Last week they did get the doors blown off of them, and they came out and responded this game. I was interested to see Kenny Pickett, how he would do, and before he got hurt, he did look like he was playing well. He threw a little touchdown pass to Najee Harris. Thank God I got him on my fantasy team, but it wasn't. I don't want to get into that. But he looked pretty good as a rookie coming in that game. Then he got knocked out. Then Mitch Trubisky came in the game. He didn't sneak it up. He threw for 144 yards on 9 to 12, and he threw a touchdown himself. So he came right back in and did his thing. I'm guessing he'll start next week. I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious with these concussions. I know Cameron Brate, he left the game. He had to get carted off with another head injury, and he was coming off a concussion. So I'm hoping he's going to be able to do well and recover from that. But this was a shocker. This game and the Jets-Packers game, I think those are the 2 biggest upsets, in my opinion, this week. I was really surprised, man. I think the Bucs and Tom Brady, they'll figure it out. Yeah. He was yelling at the offensive line. I know he's got a new offensive line. A lot of guys got hurt in preseason or the off season, and they're still trying to work it out. I think by like week 10, he'll have everything worked out. He'll be back to not getting touched and throwing a ball out of his hand like 2.5 seconds. It'll be a well-oiled machine. But they got some stuff to work out right now because the offense didn't look too well. And I'm surprised by that because, like I said, Steelers were without TJ Watt, and then they had 3 starting cornerbacks out. I can't remember. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick might have been out as well. So, yeah, that was a crazy win for the Steelers. I wonder if that will help them get back into their season. We'll see.
I tell you what, that phone line might be getting a little warm between him and Gronkowski, or the text line, whatever.
Yeah.
That everybody said that when Gronk retired, quote unquote, early in the offseason or whatever that it was going to be around that November, December range when it seemed like they probably was going to be in a playoff hunt, as most people expected heading into the season. So now that this offense still isn't doing much, it might be a phone call sooner rather than later if Brady's thinking about it and if Gronk is willing to come back. So that'll be something to watch over the next couple of weeks as we enter week 7. In the rematch of Colts and Jaguars, this time it went in the favor of the Colts, 34-27. Matt Ryan threw for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Colts were down to Deion Johnson at running back as Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines were both out. Give us your thoughts on this one, Ed.
I was looking at this game too because we talked about who we think would come out of this division. You picked the Jaguars.
Yep.
And early on, it looks like they would be that team to come out of the division, but it's looking like the teams are starting to catch up to them. I think they're on a 2-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence, he didn't play as bad as he did last week against the Eagles. He actually rushed for 2 touchdowns and threw a touchdown. But the Colts in the end, man, I was I think I was running some errands and I had that game on the radio in the last drive. But Matt Ryan came back and drove it down the field and he connected with what's his name, Alec Pierce, I want to say his name is.
Yeah, I believe so.
For his I think that was his first career touchdown too. So, game winning drive, touchdown to win a game, that's their first career touchdown. That's pretty neat, man. Salute to him. And then freaking the guy you mentioned, Deion Jackson, man. I was playing against him in fantasy and oh my God, this dude freaking went off on me. He scored a touchdown and I think he had a bunch of yards in the air as well. I think they used him in the passing game. Yeah, this man had 10 receptions for 79 yards. And I'm in one of those leagues where you get a point for every catch you make. So he had 10 points just from 10 catches. I was looking at the score of my game. I was like, what the hell is this dude doing? So I was like, oh my God, this of course. And he had a touchdown rushing the ball too. So salute to Deion Jackson. I think he got hurt at the end of the game. But salute to him, man. Congrats. You whooped my ass. And the Colts are now back. They're 3-2-1. Look at that. How many times you see a record like that? 3-2-1. Yeah, that's crazy. Jacksonville, I don't want to write them off just yet. They are improving. I think they can win some games. I don't know if it'll be. I think they'll need another year before they'll be, competing for that ultimate prize, a Super Bowl. I think they're just a year away. Need a little bit more development from Trevor Lawrence and the crew. Did you watch this game at all?
Yeah, I was flipping back and forth, especially at the end there. It seemed like it was a little back and forth as well as far as the scoring goes. But Trevor Lawrence, he had a near flawless game throwing the ball. It wasn't a lot of yardage, but 20 for 22, he finished with the touchdown. It was good to see Travis Etienne out there with another good game on the ground.
Yeah, he did play well.
It just wasn't enough for them to pull it off. I remember in our picks league, we were talking that Matt Ryan had like 30-some attempts in the first half, and he was on pace to break a record, I think, of 70 total attempts in the game. He came a little short, but I mean, I'm sure he's going to be icing that arm up today and tomorrow after so many pass attempts. But to think that they won after they got blanked last time, it was week 1 or 2, and without Jonathan Taylor, that's
and Nyheim Hines. They were out there 2 starting running backs.
Correct.
It was crazy. And Michael Pittman had a huge game as well.
Yep.
Their wide receiver.
Yeah, he did. 13 catches, 134 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, he was killing it.
But I mean, I still don't trust Matt Ryan. I don't know that I'm gonna still trust the Colts to pull off the division by the end of the year. Just because, like I said, I've said it many times before, it seems like everybody hypes up the Colts every year and they just don't finish. It seems like when it comes down to the end of the year, they're either losing record or just shy of the playoffs, as we saw last year. So I think it'll be tough for the Jaguars to get out of this hole that they're in right now. And it actually was 3 straight games. I thought it was 2 in a row like you, but I did take the note it was 3 straight games they lost now for the Jaguars. So I think, like you said, they definitely have potential. It
Yeah.
probably will look a lot better next year. I mean, Christian Kirk is still doing his thing out there. Not a lot of yardage yesterday, but Sunday, but he still got in the end zone. They got
Yeah,
a
I
lot
had
of
him on
young
my
talent.
fantasy team. They had that, they do all those plays at the end where they keep pitching the ball between
Yeah.
everybody trying to do
Yeah.
something. And he was unfortunately the one who got the ball last, and he tried to pitch it, but he fumbled. I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, that's points lost. That's why I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about my fantasy
No,
team.
you're cool. You're
Yeah.
cool. I would be cussing too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, typical. This typical. It was a bad day for me yesterday, fantasy wise.
We'll see how this AFC South pans out in the coming weeks for sure. It'll be definitely a division to watch moving forward.
Definitely. All right, let's get back to the AFC North. The Bengals beat the Saints 30-26. Joe Burrow, when he walked into the game, he had on his teammate Jamar Chase's #1 LSU jersey, and I don't know if he was foreshadowing, but Jamar Chase definitely had a huge game. He had 7 catches for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I think he had a clutch touchdown at the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken. I was watching this game a little bit too. I was like, is Andy Dalton going to pull off another one? But in the end, it looks like the Bengals, they got the ball, and Joe Burrow and crew were able to get things done to improve the 3-3. Did you see this game at all, Brandon?
No, I didn't catch much of this game, but I paid close attention to it because it was a game that I was looking to watch or at least monitor during the game. Another game that I picked and didn't go in my favor. I picked the Saints. Obviously, I mentioned my record earlier.
Oh, you picked
Joey
the
B,
Saints.
I mean, 28 for 37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You mentioned the jersey when he walked into the game. And, obviously that was a place where him and Chase won the national championship back when they were in college. And they definitely proved that there was nothing missing, in their connection from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have thought that after the game that Taysom Hill had last week, the game plan would have been to give him the ball more, but it wasn't much more out there for him unless the Cincinnati defense kind of clamped down on him. 5 carries, 39 yards.
Yeah.
He didn't get in the touchdown. He threw the ball a couple of times, but it wasn't much of all. The Saints, man, I really like them. I like their defense. They held Joe Mixon in check, but obviously they didn't do enough against the quarterback, and they had no answer for Jamar Chase and those guys out there, receivers. Boyd and Higgins still had 6 receptions each. So, I mean, I remember watching one of the post games. I can't remember which one of them. They was like, maybe Cincinnati is back. I'm not too sold on them still.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that I don't know. I think that they might still miss the playoffs. I mean, we'll have to see. It seems like they're up and down again this year. The last year they caught fire towards the middle of the season, late in the season. So we'll see how they continue. As for the Saints, I mean, I think they're in 3rd place now in the NFC South. Again, I really like them, but they were a little banged up at receiver. Obviously, the quarterback is still out, Jameis Winston. So hopefully those guys will get back healthy, and hopefully it won't be in too much of a hole by the time they get back to continue to make some noise in this division.
It's interesting that the Bengals, they started out 0-2, now they're 3-3. Those guys are second in the AFC North. Brandon, your Ravens, they better get it together, man. Bengals will leapfrog you guys, and I don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon. I think they're getting the gears rolling and are going to start winning, put a lot of games together as far as wins. So they're 3-3. You guys are 3-3, but you guys have that you're 1-0 in division right now, so y'all in first place. But y'all better step it up, man.
For sure, we only have a half game lead on them in the division. So exactly, they're peeking over our shoulders for sure.
So tap on them.
Yeah. So this Bills Chiefs game was the game on national TV in the late docket for everyone. Started off a little slow, got going in the second quarter, and it never looked back from there. It was everything that we expected it to be. I mean, is this guy Josh Allen, is he a bad man or what? I mean, we all knew that, but he just proved it again. And he proves it time and time again. One thing that caught my eye about this game, though, the Buffalo drive right before half, they took a page out of the Kansas City handbook. Yes, I said it, a handbook. They went 7 plays for 96 yards, capped it off with a 34-yard touchdown to Gabe Davis. Kansas City, in my opinion, they was a little bit out of rhythm for most of the game. I know I've told you many times they always tend to win their games by deferring the opening kickoff, scoring right before halftime, which they did. They only scored a field goal though, scoring on the opening drive of the third period and not wasting any timeouts. But yesterday they wasted a timeout in both halves. One of them, I believe, was on a wasted challenge that Andy Reid really didn't have to throw out the red flag on, which they ended up losing the challenge anyway. And then they didn't score on their first drive of the second half. But the wideouts though on both teams, I mean, Stephon Diggs, we know he's pretty much every game guaranteed double-digit receptions and 100 yards or more.
Yeah.
But Smith-Schuster on the Kansas City side, he had a couple of big catches, man. Great game. Had his breakout game of the season. I'm still waiting on a breakout game from the rookie Sky Moore, but I'm sure it'll come sooner rather than later. He was, a little bit quiet again yesterday on Sunday, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a matter of time before he gets more involved. But it's definitely a good rivalry. I mean, if they play in the postseason, I'm sure both of us will be glued to the TV again, just like all of America as well. Did you catch this contest?
Yeah, I was back and forth between this game. The Bills, they paid Von Miller, and he's definitely worth it. He's proven his worth every game. He had a great game. You mentioned Stephon Diggs in their previous matchups. I don't think he's ever went off like this against the Chiefs, but today he definitely showed up and showed out. Like you said, he had 10 receptions, over 100 yards. And Devin Singletary, he had a pretty nice game as well. And they were getting after my boy Mahomie. He got sacked 3 times and he threw it 2 interceptions as well. One at the end of the game to seal it, and earlier in the game.
True.
But I was kind of surprised because I think that same before the half, you mentioned that drive, the Bills had that long drive.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs were able to get in field goal range, and their kicker Butker, he hit like a 62-yarder.
Correct.
I was thinking that's gonna give them momentum going into the next half, and then they'll probably win a game. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was thinking, okay, I think the Chiefs are gonna stop them, but Josh Allen connected with Dawson Knox with about 30-something seconds left on that touchdown. I was like, ooh. I was like, wow, when I saw that. It was a great game. You know what's crazy? I was watching the game, and I think Tony Romo predicted the score. He was like, I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game because, these guys, they know each other really well. I'm thinking it's going to be 24-20, something like that. And I was like, damn, he's 24-20. That motherfucker called it.
Damn psychic.
I see why they pay. I see why they pay him the big bucks. But yeah, this is a great game. Hopefully they can meet again in the playoffs, because I think it'll be another legendary type game like it was last year. And I know that feels good that the Bills beat them, but I know they rather see them again in the playoffs where the game really, really matters. And hopefully they can, for them at least, they can win it. But yeah, this is definitely a good game. I know Mahomes, he probably wasn't happy with himself. I know when he threw that last interception, he was shaking his head a lot. I probably left a salty taste in his mouth.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, looking back at some of the other games from week 6, the Commanders, they won a stinker against the Bears, 12-7 on Thursday Night Football. Patriots, they beat the Browns 38-15. Vikings, they beat the Dolphins down in Miami 24-16. Rams crushed the Panthers 24-10. Of course, we know about the sideline scuffle or disagreement between Robbie Anderson and position coach. It eventually led to him getting kicked out of the game by interim head coach Steve Wilks and traded on Monday to the Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, they lost. Speaking of the Cardinals, they lost to the Seahawks 19-9. The Seahawks are now 3-3 on the season. Falcons, they beat the 49ers 28-14. And the Eagles whooped the Cowboys' ass early in Sunday Night Football, and they went on to win 26-17. Any of those games caught your eye?
Yeah, I think but the Seahawks Cardinals game, I was watching that because I had some players in fantasy on that game, Kyler Murray and their running back. They're gonna have to start ringing alarm bells. The Seahawks are 3-3. I would have never. I thought they'd be 0-6 right now, but Geno Smith is telling everybody to shut the hell up and look at him go. Wow, 3-3. This season, man, has been. I don't know. This has been a crazy season so far. The Falcons 49ers game, that's another game I wasn't expecting. I had freaking Deebo Samuel and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is just killing me. He got a touchdown, but the dude I was playing against, he had the other Niners receiver, Brandon Ayuk, and he went the hell off. Motherfucker had 2 touchdowns. I'm like, God damn, I can't get nothing done. This is a perfect day for the dude I was playing against. So I was just like, yeah. I have Jimmy Garoppolo as one of my quarterbacks too, but he's on the bench. But good thing I didn't play him because he got picked off a few times. I think a couple of times, but he got picked off. But yeah, the Falcons-Niners game, I was looking at Seahawks-Cardinals. Of course, I watched the Eagles-Cowboys game. And let me mention the Commanders. We won the game, so salute to them. But that game, man, I don't know if you can't remember if you say you watched it or not, but we try our best to give the game away at the end. Justin Fields was marching their team down the field, and it's just a bad draw of luck for them. He threw the ball to Mooney, and Mooney couldn't come up with it in the end zone. Like if he would have caught it if he would have had his hands on the ball and caught it as soon as he had the ball where he was at, he would have had a touchdown and won a game. But he was bobbling it, and as he caught it, got pushed out of the end zone, like at the 1 yard line, and they ended up losing. This is like one of the first times where I wasn't even happy we won. I was just like, just looking like, really? It was just bad. And then there are reports now that Carson Wentz fractured his ring finger, so he'll probably be out 4 to 6 weeks, the reports are saying. So I guess my boy Taylor Heineke will start, but I'd rather see the rookie Sam Holland there. But yeah, those are the games I was paid most attention to. What about you? Any of these games catch your eye?
Yeah, both the primetime games. I watched the first half. I didn't watch the second half. I know you. I remember texting you on Friday morning saying, "At least y'all got the W," and you was like, again, like you just said, they damn near gave away the game. But that Falcons 49ers game, I remember the Falcons went up 14-0. I'm like, oh God, I'm about to lose another pick, right? Because I picked the 49ers, and I still wound up losing that game. It was 14-0. Then the 49ers came back, scored 14 unanswered. Next thing I know, the Falcons went up by another 2 touchdowns. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Not what I expected out of that game for sure. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought the Falcons would win that game. But
they 3-3 now?
Yeah. Well, on the doorstep of the NFC South.
Crazy season.
Peeking over the shoulder.
Super unpredictable.
Definitely.
A lot of stuff is going on.
Crazy.
All right, man. Let's get into the players of the week. Start with the offensive side of the ball. I'm gonna go with my boy Jamar Chase. 7 receptions, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Give him some love. Who's your offensive guy of the week?
On the same page. I'm so happy I could pick this guy on the week he didn't light up my defense. Joey B. Joey Burrow, everyone. 28 for 37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. He was responsible for every Cincinnati touchdown on Sunday. On a day the Mixon was held in check, he did his thing in the same state he shined in college, and not to mention the fact that he wore the Chase jersey before the game. You mentioned that earlier, but yeah, Jamar Chase was his receiver, had a big game. Joey B, my offensive ace of the week.
Joe Cool, got you. So my defender of the week, I'm gonna go with Quinnen Williams of the New York Jets, defensive tackle. He had 4 total tackles and 2 sacks, and he also had a forced fumble in that game against the Packers. And he was like a major piece, man. They were getting pressure on Rodgers a lot, and he had 2 of the 4 sacks. So I'm gonna show him some love. That was my defender of the week. What about you?
Sticking to the defensive line, you mentioned him last week when we previewed the Ravens and Giants. I was excited when the Giants selected him number 5 overall in the draft early in the spring, but I wasn't excited on Sunday. Kayvon Thibodeau. 3 tackles, a sack, the forced fumble at the end. He was simply all over the place.
I think I might have said to you, I can't remember. Y'all don't make him look like how Aiden Hutchinson looked against us. I think I said that to you, something like that.
We came close though.
Yeah, y'all did. I can't lie. All right, special teams player of the week. We were texting back and forth in the Commanders Bears game, and I was like, the damn punters are gonna be the special team players of the week. And I'm not kidding. I have the Commanders punter as my special team player of the week. What's my guy's name? Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. My boy Tress Way, he has 6 punts, average of 51 yards, and he had 2 punts inside the 20. And it was a battle of field position, man. So we needed all them good punts. Salute to him, man. Sorry ass offense. Oh God, let me stop. Salute to Tressaway, the Commanders. Who's your special team of the week?
It pays to have a good punter, trust me.
Yeah.
So yeah, hats off to the entire special teams unit of the Jets. I had to kind of bend the rules here.
Yeah.
They had a block field goal and a block punt, plus they returned the punt for 6. It's a beautiful thing when your team can dominate all 3 phases of the game, and that the Jets did on Sunday, thanks to the special teams unit of the Big Green up there in New York. Bonehead play and call of the week. I'm going to bend the rules again this week. Bonehead player of the week goes to Robbie Anderson. I understand your frustration, bro. I understand it. You played on trash teams for pretty much your whole career. And then to make matters worse, they bring in Bake at quarterback. I mean, yeah, he's been out with last week.
He ain't want him either.
Yeah. So don't get in the coach's face. Like, handle that, give him some space. You got the cameras on you and everything. But it ended good for him, I guess, because he gets to go to play with Kyler. But it's not like the Cardinals are winning every game this year like they did start 7-0 last year. So Robbie Anderson, Bonehead, I guess is more so a decision of the week to go let your emotions get the best of you. How about you?
Yeah. My Bonehead call of the week, I'm gonna give it to my guy McDaniels, the head coach of the Dolphins. They had a 4th and 1 on like the 50-yard line, and they did a fake punt run. And before the play, I was like, this is gonna be a fake. There's something about it was a fake, and the defense seemed to know it too, because they definitely didn't get the conversion. They had to turnover it down. So I'm gonna give it to my boy McDaniels of the head coach of the Dolphins for calling that 4th and 1 fake punt instead of just kicking it down ball and try something else.
Okay, so we've got Monday Night Football, the Broncos at the Chargers. I believe it's the Broncos' 4th primetime game of the season. Denver enters 0-2 on the road, and I believe they'll end up 0-3 by the end of Monday night. We was all hyped about the AFC West heading into this season with all the offseason acquisitions and additions to this division, and it just has not panned up to the expectations. I picked Austin Eckler to be the offensive player of the year, my offensive player of the year heading into this season. And I think he'll shine again tonight. I think Herbert will have a decent night. But then again, it seems like it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back with this Chargers team. It seems like they're up and down every year, especially last couple of years. But they'll definitely get a favor, in my opinion, by playing the Broncos for sure. I remember, I don't know if I sent you the meme, but you probably seen it on Facebook. Everybody probably seen it, or whatever social media, of Russell Wilson in the pocket with the head, the helmet turned backwards. It's just not been working this year for them. And then your boy Nathaniel Hackett, you put emphasis on the hack part of it, because it seemed like he just hacked the money from the damn Broncos organization and becoming their head coach. But I will say this: they're a little banged up on offense. The running backs, I think they're Williams for the year, so they just signed their running back a couple weeks ago. Of course, the wide receiver position, they're still banged up in. But still, I going into the season, I thought it was going to take some time, and it's definitely showing that it seems like it's going to take some time if they even get out of the season with the same head coach. But yeah, Monday Night Football at SoFi, I believe it will end in a win for the Chargers. I don't want to say it's going to be a blowout like we both thought last week in Chiefs Raiders, and then the Raiders came out and made us both look like clowns, like you said. So I'm going to give it a close prediction and hope that it's a blowout, so I can get another pick right in my picks league. I think I'll have 4 by the end of this week if they win.
Good luck to you, man. Yeah, it sounds like you had a tough week. Broncos country. Let's ride. I think I would go with the Broncos. I don't know why, man. I can't give up on Russell Wilson just yet. For some reason, I'm thinking this is the game where he'll turn around and look like the Russell Wilson of old, where he's like throwing a ball, throwing just beautiful passes downfield, deep balls downfield to guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. And hopefully Melvin Gordon, he doesn't fumble tonight. That Broncos defense, they kept them in a lot of games. So I'm thinking they're
Yeah.
going to keep them in the game, and Russell Wilson will find something. We'll have something click. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, these are guys that are really good receivers, in my opinion. And
Oh yeah.
I think he's going to eventually, get a chemistry going with them. Now, the Chargers, that do got some cornerbacks on the side of the ball as well that can shut some people down if they're ready. I like the guy, Asante Samuel Jr.
Definitely.
He just needs to catch the ball because he's seemed to have some brick hands right now where he'll get his hands on the ball, but he'll drop it. I think eventually that'll change. He'll be kind of like his dad, where he has some important picks and a lot of picks in his career. But right now, I'm gonna go with the Broncos. For some reason, I just can't not stay away from Russell Wilson. I think he'll eventually flip the switch. I don't know if he's fallen off a cliff like Max used to say about Tom Brady. Max Kellerman used to say about Tom Brady. I don't think he's fallen off a cliff yet. I thought it was close to happen in that last stinker game he had. Was it Thursday Night Football last week?
Correct.
Oh, the week before last. Excuse me.
Yeah. Guess was that the game against San Fran? I think that was a Monday night game. Either way, they had a bunch of primetime games, so either way they suck.
Yeah, definitely. And Russell Wilson definitely sucked. I think I sent you a picture of Melvin Gordon, one of the running backs. I can't remember if it was Melvin Gordon. I want to say it was Melvin Gordon, but he was just looking at him on the sideline while they were on a bench, just looking at him. The look he gave him, like, man, this damn clown. So we'll see. It was they played the Colts the Thursday game, that stinker where it was damn field goals. But Russ, man, you gotta rebound from that game. And I'm thinking Monday night, you either going to show up or you're going to get stumped out. So I'm hoping he shows up and they don't get stumped out. But we'll see. Broncos country, let's ride.
Okay, we'll see. We'll be back on Friday to check it all out. Well, y'all, thanks again for having us on your airways. Be sure to buckle your seatbelts for what should be another good Thursday night football game with the Saints and Cardinals, possibly headlined by the return of DeAndre Hopkins. We haven't seen much of him, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we'll be back with you again on Friday. Be breezy, folks.
Peace. Oh, no, he said another good Thursday night game. What are you talking about? Those games were trash.
Yeah, my bad.
Pretty good, bro.
You've been listening to the latest episode of the BNE Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at PodcastBNE.